Dungeons Game Fair 2019 coverage on DDO Players, brought to you by the Skull Splitter Dice Company. For all of your dice needs, check them out. They have metal dice to regular dice to some specialty dice that you might not know existed. All colors of dice as well. Also, check out their blogs where they have some great play guides for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. That's our friends over at the Skull Splitter Dice Company, skullsplitterdice.com. And don't forget, if you are a new customer, mention that DDO Player sent you and you will get a free set of dice.
Hey, it's DDO Players. We are here at Origins 2019. We have made it to Sunday. We are almost at the end. We saved the best for last, though. We've stopped by the Kosmos booth. I'm here with Jesus. How's it going?
It is fantastic.
And how's your Origins been for you guys so far?
Crazy busy. We're really, like, what we have on the shelves is what we have left.
I've heard that from a lot of people.
So it's been an awesome Origins. There's so many gamers here, which is great.
That is awesome. So let's just start off. Tell me a little bit about Kosmos.
So Kosmos is an international company, and board games is actually a small portion of our business. We do a lot of educational science kits and things like that. So with that, the educational kind of philosophy, we like to do a lot of family style games. We want everything to kind of be accessible to everybody, but that doesn't mean that games aren't challenging, you know. So we have a lot of, you know, our exit games are very puzzly, but we like to make games that make you think, that are still fun. So
right. And that's probably a challenge to do that, but you guys do it well, though.
We try to, so thank you.
So I know the big thing you got here is the Emotep, the Duel. Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit.
So we are premiering Emotep, the Duel here. It will be releasing officially at Gen Con, but we hesitate to call any of our releases Gen Con releases because we are also getting all of our games. If your local game stores order them, they should be at their doorstep August 1st also.
Oh, excellent.
So for those that are doing the Gen Can't, they should also have access to these Gen Con games.
Well, that's awesome.
So in Emotep Duel, the basic premise is that you are placing workers. You have one of three choices. You can place a worker out, or you can unload a boat, or play one of the blue special tiles if you have one. But in order to unload a boat, there has to be two or more workers in the grid in the row. So in this case, there's two here and there's two here, so you have access to this boat and this boat here.
Oh, okay, I see.
When they unload from front to back, and there are people in the front of the boats, and that helps me keep track of this. And so in this case, this player would get this token, this player would get this, and this would be removed from the game, not back to the supply, because the supply works as a way to time the game.
Okay.
And then the boat would immediately fill back up. If you can't fill a boat, that boat goes away for the evening, as I'd like to put it. And then when the second to last boat is left, the game immediately ends and you score. And scoring is kind of the same as, not the same, but it's similar to people that know Emotep. Mm-hmm. So like, for instance, this one you're going to get 1 point for each block you have in it, and then you get one for the tallest structure also. This one you're going to be collecting these yellow tiles that have these red circles on them, and you're going to score 1 point for each symbol you have. This one's kind of clever, and this reminds me of Lost Cities in the fact that you're building a pyramid like the original Emotep game, but so if you build this pyramid up to 6, you're going to get 21 points, and they score independently. The problem that I say it reminds me of Lost Cities is there's only 12 tiles in the game.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So if I get 6 of them, there's no way you're gonna get
right.
So, and that goes with this one too. You're scoring your little groups of numbers. So if you have 1, 2, 3, you have a set of 3, and that's worth 9 points. There's only 12 numbers in the game. So one person's not going to get a 1, and you're not going to get a 1.
You're not going to get a 1 either. Right.
So I always tell people, give it 2 rounds. If there's 2 workers on the board, you start getting that feeling of Emotep where it's like, all right, so now I have a choice. Do I put this out or do I take this? And I noticed when I played it the other day that I was like, oh man, they're going to pull the trigger on this one, so I better put my worker there so I know that I'm going to get something too. Yep. So it's very good. Of course, in typical Kosmos fashion, all of our boards are going to be double-sided, so there's variants on the other side, so you can mix and match. So this is slated for August 1st for Gen Con and Gen Can't, so you can go to your local game stores if you cannot. And that is Emotep the Duel. So in Roll to Adventure, what you're doing is you're going to have one of your adventurers who has a special ability, which we could get to, but the main mechanic of the game is you're rolling your dice, and then you're going to allocate those dice out to these different realms around the board. The problem is you can only choose one number to do at a time. You have to at least put out one die, but you can't put a 4 over here, a 5 over here. You can't even put a 4 here and a 4 here. You like, if I want to do 4s, I can put them both here. They have to be in the same spot. And what's awesome is after you've rolled your dice, and then you would get to re-roll and pick somewhere else.
Okay.
But after all of your dice are out on the board, then any place that has a full set like this that completes it will activate. And each board does something a little different. This one, when it's complete, I would get my dice back, and then I would have broken this barrier. Once you break all the barriers, you get one of these power crystals, which is the way, because you're trying to defeat this big bad like shadow master guy, and and in order to beat this scenario, we're using the Book of Magic to beat him. But to activate the Book of Magic, we need 5 power crystals to do that.
And you have to break the barriers there to get the power crystals.
To get one of the power crystals. This one you have to put 5s or 6s out, and then you break a barrier, get a power crystal, then it resets. This one you get 1s, they shift over, then you have to do it again to shift it over, and then one shifts over and is removed from the game to get one. And then this gives you special abilities. So you allocate dice here, then you can activate each spot. Well, actually, it's a cumulative thing. So if you activate this, everyone gets an extra die to roll. If you save and you activate it when there's 5, you get the dice and you can destroy a monster. And then if you save 6, you can heal the realms, because monsters are going to come out. And when a monster comes out, it's going to go to whatever realm that it is from. So in this case, it's from this gray area here. And they're going to do some really bad things. Like this one is going to steal a 2, a 3, and a 4 off the board. If it can't steal at least one of them, it wants to steal all of them, but if it can't steal at least one of them, it's going to attack the board and deal damage to the board. And each realm has a set amount of life, and if it gets fully damaged, you immediately lose as a team.
You lose, okay, I see.
And on top of that...
Oh, geez, there's more?
Yes, so when a monster comes out, like if this 3 were to come out, this 3 would come out and it would activate its own power, but then because this 3 is here, it's so much stronger than all the other monsters that are out, it's going to reactivate every monster that's a lower number than it.
Oh, good grief.
You can get rid of monsters by allocating dice to it that would equal 6. So if I did that, that monster would be destroyed.
Okay.
But then the worst is when the shadow monster comes out, he's going to activate every monster. Well, I don't know if it's a he or she, but it will activate every monster that is out on the board. Then you will also roll this fancy die, and if all 4 realms come up, he's gonna deal 1 damage to each realm.
Oh, wow.
But if 1 realm comes up, he's gonna do 2 damage to it. And if you're really lucky, which I've only seen little kids do this convention, nothing happens. But then the worst is he will shuffle back into the deck and come out again later. And if you ever run through the deck, he will just sit out and activate every turn.
Oh, no.
So I always tell people this game can escalate very quickly, but your heroes will have special abilities that can help you deal with this. And there's a whole stack of heroes that you can choose from, and there's also a whole bunch of weapons that you can use to make the game more difficult. So for instance, the Book of Magic is the simplest one to activate for 5. But then this is, you would need 6. Then there's 7. And it goes all the way to the Jewel of Light, which is 9 to activate.
Wow.
And of course, typical Kosmos, all of these have a B-side variant that you can mix and match to increase the difficulty or to change the experience each time. I'm really excited about this. This is going to be out once again, Gen Con, Gen Can't. So
what's the player count and the play time on this one?
So this one, I think you can probably knock it out in about 30 minutes, and this is 2 to 4 players. If there's 2 players, you actually get some extra dice to, quote, help you. But I have seen some people lose pretty hard at this. And so when a monster steals your die, it goes to the middle and it's not available to you. And then you have to dedicate dice to this that equal 10 to release those.
To get to, oh man.
Yes. So the game
I could
is pretty
see this
brutal.
going really bad, really quick, probably.
People walk in with this whole mentality that it's going to be easy because it's a Kosmos game, and then they get their butt kicked, and they're like, "Oh, is this like an exit game? What's going on here?" So
yeah, well, that looks pretty amazing. So once again, Gen Con, Gen Can't.
Yep, Gen Con, Gen Can't is when everything's going to be coming out.
Excellent.
All right, so this is our Origin release. This is Exit the Game, the Catacombs of Horror. And you can see just by the box size that it is much bigger. This is like what fans have been asking for. This is harder and bigger. So this one, if you play it straight through, takes over 4 hours to play. But there is a clear break in the middle where it tells you can put this away. This one is brutal. It's the most difficult one we've ever released. It's 4.5 difficulty out of 5. So this one is really, really hard. It's kind of spooky. We wanted to do it right because the Catacombs, it's so famous and there's so much going on that we wanted to do it right. So this is out now. You can get this now locally. It should be on its way to retail and everything. But this was our big Origin release. And in October, we're going to have another set of games coming out that are not exit games. It's a whole new kind of feel and a whole new line for us, and it's called the adventure games.
Okay.
And what those are this is very puzzly and where you're kind of wrecking things and doing stuff. The adventure games, you're actually going to take on the role of an adventurer, and you have abilities and disabilities within the game. And so if you are a cleric and you enter a room by magic spell, it's going to advance the story and take us somewhere within the narrative that my character, if I was a rogue and I unlocked the door for us and let myself in, would take us differently. So it's really this communal kind of story-driven thing where you are trying to advance the story and drive through this story like a choose-your-own-adventure style, but there's a lot more there, and there's different chapters inside the box.
Now, are those going to be replayable, or are those
Those are replayable. So, okay. I mean, other than the fact that you will know how the story goes,
right, yeah.
But yeah, you can actually hand those off, and that's something new that we're doing too with those. So those, however, are not going to be out at Gen Con. Those are going to be out in October. So you can look for those. Those are right in the pipeline, and those are coming down too.
All right. Well, excellent. Well, thanks for taking some time out of your Origins today.
Thank you, and come visit us at Gen Con.